This podcast is brought to you by Civic Plus. For all of our park and recreation pros, do you feel like you're constantly putting out fires? Registrations, facility bookings, team calendars, it's a nonstop juggling act. And all that admin work keeps you from what really matters, serving your community. That is where Civic Plus comes in. Their comprehensive parks and recreation management solution streamlines everything, from online registration to facility scheduling and payments, all in one place. Parks and Recreation Management by Civic Plus automates the busy work that bogs you down, so you can spend less time on paperwork and more time creating unforgettable programs for your residents. Civic Plus is the trusted partner for thousands of high-performing civic leaders, helping them balance better services with limited resources. With over 25 years of experience and a team of 900 experts, Civic Plus powers over 10,000 organizations and touches 350 million lives every day. So if you're ready to train that bird out for impact, visit civicplus.com. The best run local governments run on Civic Plus technology.
Welcome to Season 5 of RecLess, the podcast making you smarter and more knowledgeable about the field of parks and recreation. Your hosts are Shane Mize, Jay Tryon, and Tom Venniro, three career-long friends from across the country bringing you a surprise guest each episode. Listen in on a great conversation, maybe take some notes, and definitely enjoy a couple of laughs. This is RecLess.
You guys good?
Yep.
Tom's good? Okay. Welcome to the 88th episode of RecLess, a podcast where we're focusing on the industry of park and recreation through three close friends around different parts of the country. My name is Jay Tryon, and I'm going to be your host today. And I got Shane Mize and
Good
Tom
to see you, buddy.
What's going on, guys?
Hey guys, just trying to keep it together, you know.
It's not always easy with this guy.
Good. It's all good. I'm excited. We have a RecLess guest today.
We do.
Yes,
we do.
That is the title is RecLess Guest. So, which, hey, if you think about it, this is number 88. We have not had that name yet. No, but no one's written that name yet.
That's right.
So it is original.
It is.
And here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to be a little bit different in our opening question too, because we're going to work on getting to know each other a little bit more.
Us?
I'm kind of done with that. Aren't y'all?
It's my question. It's not your question today. And I was going through the guest bio and reading up on this guest that I've known for a while, and I've known some of the things that they've shared, but it got me thinking. I was curious if there is a hobby or an activity that you guys partake in that we don't know. And I'll give you a minute to think about it. And I can go first because I obviously have the concept already drawn up, but I don't know that you guys know that I like to go fishing. And my son has gotten into fishing lately in the last couple of years, and I used to fish when I was his age. I grew up with my parents having a summer home that belonged to my grandparents. So when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, like I did a lot of fishing on a small lake about an hour and 45 minutes out of Buffalo. And I loved it. And Noah has some friends in the neighborhood that like they get on their bikes, they bring a fishing rod and they ride to these little ponds, and they like will spend days and hours just fishing in little ponds and creeks. And it's gotten me to take him places and take him out to the lake and go fishing. And I love it. I forgot how much I enjoyed it as a child, but I enjoy it just as much, if not more now. So what do you guys got?
I did not know you were a fisherman.
I didn't know that either.
See, that's the whole point of today. We're getting to know each other.
Now, he hasn't apologized for, he probably should come on here and apologize. I don't know, Tom, if you saw the game where he was also the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. And he screamed at his player and he
hit him in the chest.
Bumped him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty rude.
I mean, he lost the game for him.
Or for y'all. I mean,
for him, yeah.
You and Coach Gannon have never been in the same room, so we can't really decipher if you are the same person.
If I was an NFL coach, I'm not sure I'd be on this podcast with you right now.
It's not true. You love us. For mine, I think y'all may know this because I've mentioned it from time to time, but I don't know how much y'all know. But I hate walking. That y'all absolutely know. But I've been walking since my vacation at the middle of July. I decided to create a habit, and I like to challenge myself for different things. So I was like, I'm just going to create a habit, and it takes 2 weeks to create a habit. What am I going to do for the next 2 weeks of vacation that I'll do every single day? And after 2 weeks, I would do it habitually. And I started walking 10,000 steps a day. And I have only missed one day of 10,000 steps since the middle of July. And that was on the drive back from Orlando for conference. We just got to wherever we were staying that night in Louisiana, Lafayette, so late that when I got out of the car and started walking, I couldn't register 1,000 steps. I got like 7,000 steps that day. But every single day since the middle of July, even though I hate it, I have gotten 10,000 steps in every single day, either just through work or having 3,000 or 4,000 steps at work and then just getting home and doing the rest before I rest for the night. And it's allowed me to catch up on podcasts and listen to a couple audiobooks or just decompress sometimes because my commute, I live about 13 houses from my office. So my commute is actually fairly short. And so I sometimes don't get that opportunity to decompress. And so walking's done that. So yeah, I've been walking 10,000 steps a day almost 5 months now, except for 4 months now, except for one day.
Nice.
It's awesome.
It's a nice, healthy hobby. I am pretty sure you guys know everything about me.
Yeah.
So I'm an open book, and you guys already know about the turkey calls. That would have been
Man,
that would have
I've
been a
been
go-to. Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, I don't have a whole lot of time for hobbies, I feel like. I guess, yeah, that's true. You know about Disney, you know about cooking,
your watch
you know about the
fandom.
watches, but I don't really, it's not that crazy. You know, I like to layer up if it's a nice
Mm.
cool day. Got a nice collection of
He's
cardigans
crescendoing. He's building up to something. He's
and
luring
zip
us in.
ups. It's gonna be a major letdown for whatever I'm building up. I guess I don't know that we've ever talked about this, but maybe we have. And it's a very loose hobby at this point. It's not anything that's a regular habit. Kids certainly financially and just time-wise cut into it a little bit, but for about 7 or 8 years, well, I should go back for I don't know, my entire childhood. My father, he at one point
Ooh,
owned
cards.
a card store. So yeah, I think we've talked about that, but that's kind of a unique one that maybe listeners either missed or don't know. And so yeah, I was a little bit of a card collector for a while and got really back into it from 2016 to about 2022. And yeah, I was buying, selling, trying to make money here and there. I still got a nice collection. Don't get to look at it or put posts on eBay or buy as much these days, but it's somewhat of a unique acquired hobby. And I think a lot of people have gotten into that lately these days anyway. It's a completely different market, but yeah, that's something that brings me a lot of joy that I don't think I talk about a lot, that a lot of individuals wouldn't know.
I used to do that. I think we were of the age that everyone collected baseball cards, football cards at one time or whatever, or most of my friends did. And we were cleaning out the garage and I went back and relooked at some of the stuff. And I have an Emmitt Smith rookie card. And it's
Nice.
one of those 3D ones that's bubbled up. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be, it's in a sealed case. I was like, this is going to be where I'm going to be able to take care of a kid's college education. No, it's like $80.
Yeah.
I've sat on that stupid thing for 20 years. That's garnered
awesome.
$30 or something. But yeah.
Good times. Time to share some.
Is that what you wanted? Did you get what you
is.
wanted out of us?
It's our bonding hour today, or
Okay.
at least bonding minutes. So moving on to the guest. Today's guest and I have some history together because we have both started our park and rec
Lindsay Tryon.
career
Okay, no.
with
Sorry.
Mecklenburg County.
Okay.
So nope, it is not my wife. Here's a fact that I always share with no matter who it is, because I like to have Shane guest. But our guest has a bachelor's degree from Western Carolina University. Do you know the mascot for Western Carolina?
The Seahawks.
Nope, it's the Catamounts. So
That's what
That
I
was
was
my
gonna
second
guess.
guess.
there you go. Tom would have got it. So here's some fun hobbies that our guest is into. They are a avid golfer. Okay, they have a passion for golf, and I've known that. And our guest actually recently posted a video on their LinkedIn about being at and being involved with a veterans golf tournament that takes place every year here in Mecklenburg County. They also have a hobby of woodworking, making novelty items, including laser engraving.
I've already got an idea, but I don't know. I don't want to guess so early, but I have a little bit of an idea.
I'd be very impressed if you knew. Proudest athletic.
He doesn't think much of you.
accomplishment
Tom, is what he's saying.
Well, I guess the question would be is, do you think I know the individual? And if you don't think I do, then probably not.
I don't know if you do. I don't think you do, but maybe you do. Their proudest athletic accomplishment was joining and being a part of the Union County High School Hall of Fame, class of 2011. And he shattered one backboard to his credit. Another athletic accomplishment
With a
was
golf
that
ball?
they got a hole-in-one on their birthday, nonetheless, which is pretty cool. Our guest is a graduate of NRPA Director School, is a certified playground safety instructor, started their career on the recreation side, but has since moved into park operations. In their current role, he leads a team of over 200 employees, including maintenance, athletic, park rangers, and a variety of managers.
In North Carolina?
In North Carolina.
Yeah, I got it.
He helps oversee operations of more than 250 park and recreation properties with $17 million operating budget. Do you really know it?
I mean, the hole-in-one in the golf, that would be a real coincidence if it's someone else. And I know the individual that I'm thinking of lost their phone for a brief time in Orlando.
Nope.
Okay. Wow. You know two different people who got a hole-in-one.
Today's guest is the Superintendent of Park Operations from Mecklenburg County Park and Recreation. Please welcome Chris Hunter.
Okay. No, I was thinking someone completely different. Hey, Chris.
How's it going?
Hey, guys.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for
I'm
joining.
excited to have you on. And I see some of that woodworking in the background.
So I will ask you guys to indulge me to tell you a quick joke.
Please.
So a walker, a card collector, and a fisherman walk into a bar.
Oh, boy. This seems oddly specific.
This was not planned.
Seriously, guys, I've been so excited about this. You know, I've listened to your show. I haven't heard all of your episodes, but I follow your show and just tickled to death to be invited. So thank y'all.
We talked in a lobby in Orlando.
I was wondering if you remember that.
Yes, sir.
It was pretty late that evening, but yeah, we did.
Yes, sir.
I came up to you and introduced myself, and I had to stop myself because I would have given away the fact that Jay had invited me. So
That's awesome.
If I seemed rude, if I seemed abrupt when I stopped talking with you, that was the reason why.
No, we were having a good conversation. They just cut off. No, it was great.
Chris, I want to start off, like I said, you and I both started with Mecklenburg County in the recreation side of the world. You've since made the transition over to park operations, and we've definitely had more recreation people on the podcast than park ops. So we've had a fair share of park ops, but I'm interested in, what was that transition like from you going from recreation to park ops, and what has been the biggest challenge in the park operations world for you?
When I transitioned to park operations in this department, and probably like most departments, it was a natural transition of getting promoted. It was an opportunity for me to advance my career. I thought that I knew parks. I thought I knew all about parks. I'd worked at the time in the department 12, 15 years. And I thought, oh man, I know where these parks are. I'll do the same thing that I'm doing in my rec centers. Dude, parks are such a different world. Park operations is so, I guess the one word I'll say to sum it up is the lack of control. In a recreation center, I got staff there. When it's open, there's staff there. When I can control, if I see some craziness going on, I can get my team and we can manage it. Parks are the Wild West, essentially. And you just never know from day to day what's going to show up in your parks and how you're going to have to deal with it. That
is so true. I have worked in the industry for 21 years, but I've never worked in a park until just this last about year and a half. They've transitioned us into this old house until they move us at City Hall at the end of next year. And I've enjoyed working in a park for sure. And it's really close to my house. So I walk from time to time, get my steps in. But man, is it interesting to see what happens in just one of our 34 parks. Like I walked in one day and there was a full gazebo set up in the middle of our park and people were taking photos. And I was like, hey, what's going on? I'm the director of Parks and Rec, trying to figure out what's going on. I was like, oh, well, we just set this up because we're using it as a magazine shoot for this gazebo that we're selling, and we're going to break it down afterwards. It's like, what? Like the things that just happened. Just last week, someone drove in a Tesla and it had like writing on the side of the windows, you know,
Mhm.
like you would if you've taken it into a shop and they're saying what date it got in or what you're doing, you know. And so one of my staff was walking. I was like, what are they doing out there? It's like, oh, they've said this spot is the levelest spot in the city. And so this is where they recalibrate all the safety functions of this Tesla. It's like the crap you
Wow.
see in a park is insane. Yeah. So you have no control.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
And cops don't always, or even park rangers don't always even have the tools or the time to solve whatever problem that's coming up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously from a programming perspective, everyone wants to do a wonderful thing in our communities. Everybody has a great idea, and we want to help facilitate those things, but we have a process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're lucky when people pick up the phone and call us and say, "Hey, I want to put on this wonderful thing," and then from time to time, every other Saturday or every other day, you're gonna walk up on the gazebo.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give an example. During COVID, this is probably halfway through COVID, there was a local church that decided that they wanted to bring a concert to one of our uptown parks. I mean, not just a guy with a banjo and a full blown stage and production, and they just decided they want to set up in the park, and it was a mess. It was something, but again, that's just the nature of parks. And once you've done it for a little while, you kind of understand, and you try and train your staff to anticipate what they're seeing. But it doesn't always work. Obviously, you get new park ranges, you get new maintenance teams, and you have to teach them. And like I say again, I've been doing this now on the park side. I've been with the county for 26 years. I've been with the park side probably 11, and I'm still getting surprised once a week.
There is an entitlement in our public spaces where someone says, I'm a taxpayer, I pay for this space, or you're not using this space. I sometimes have to tell people it's because we've told hundreds of people no, that space isn't being used and abused as you're trying to now use it and abuse it, right? I could have hundreds of gazebo companies setting up if I didn't tell every one of them, no, you can't set up your pavilions and your tents or whatever.
So Shane, you can get away with this. I'm gonna give you something next time someone tells you that. I'm a taxpayer. I can
Yep.
reach into your pocket.
That's right.
And
Pay them back.
you pull out a dollar bill, and you say the calculations based on the population of our community, this is what you've paid into my park budget. If you take this and get out of my face,
Yep.
we're even.
Yeah.
But I said you can do that because you're the director. I can't do that because I'll get fired.
I'd probably get in trouble myself, but I have wanted to say it for sure.
Yeah, I think we've all been in those situations. And it's interesting that there's those conversations that still happen, obviously, from the taxpayer perspective. And it's unfortunate that it happens because there's so many good comments and so many good conversations that we have with residents all the time. But too often we focus on that one or two conversations that it's negative. With that being said, and you leading such a large team, how do you make sure that your team focuses on those positives and the success stories and the impact you're having rather than those folks that are just coming to complain or upset about something not happening in a park that they want to happen?
I view that as part of my role as leader of my team. It's my job to help my staff understand. First thing I tell them, don't take it personal, right? When people say whatever they say, I tell my team all the time, get used to it. People get to be ugly to us. They nothing stops them from being ugly to us. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to let people abuse our team. We're not going to let people abuse our staff. But again, people say off the wall things and all that. Just let it be a duck. Let the water roll off your back, and let's stay professional and let's do our jobs. Now, it's all about encouragement. I'm writing behind. I don't know if you guys can see behind me. I try to write down little stuff on my board to remind myself of things. And I found this quote. I can't recall. I want to credit the person. I can't remember who said it. It was basically the three shuns. It's preparation, execution, and celebration, right? So we have to make sure we celebrate our successes. Yeah. So I'm cooking barbecues wherever I can, bro. Whenever we get an opportunity, we've come through the summer. If we get a win, I'm firing up the grill for my team to try and just thank them for all the mess that they deal with on a day-to-day basis. So I think that's really important to make sure that first of all, you make your staff aware. Hey, look, man, don't take it personal. Part of the job. But then when we have those victories, we want to celebrate them.
From your athletic background, do you see park ops as more not athletic background or athletic based on the work itself, even though it's a very physically laboring job, but just how they have to, they're in the car together. They're in a locker room together. I can go and shut my door as a director and kind of shut myself off from my team. They don't have a door. They don't have a computer. Sometimes they have a chair. That's their chair. That's the chair they always sit in, almost like, in a locker room setting. In that sense, they become almost, you called them a team, but they come very much like a team or an athletic group that has to kind of go through some of the nuance and just, we got to get through this type of thing or whatever. In my experiences over the years, it's very much got an athletic feel to it in how you manage them, coach them, train them up, discipline them as a group sometimes, talk to them as a group. I don't bring all my rec staff in and talk to them when I see something poorly happening with aquatics, but I do bring the whole park ops team in together when I see something happening on the trails, even though some of these guys are the athletic fields. You gather them, you lead them, and you group them as a team. Do you feel that same connection in some ways?
Absolutely. Some people might get mad at me for saying this, but the best employees that I've had over my years are people who've been involved in team sports at some point in their life. I tell people all the time, I get an opportunity to go and speak with a group. We have an internal program called Leadership Academy, and I'll go and speak to the young folks that are going to be in that program. Everything that I know about leadership derives from my time in sports. That's having a good coach. That's having a bad coach.
Yeah.
I just know that whenever, even today, I'm 53 years old. I just turned 53 last month. And when it gets tired, when it gets hard, whenever my job gets hard and I'm thinking, God, man, why isn't this way? I remember when I was in high school during summer football camp, we had this thing called the snake, and it was a conditioning drill. And basically, if you can imagine getting on the goal line on one side of the field, and then you jog down the goal line to the other side of the field. You turn up and come to the 5-yard line and you sprint back. Oh. You go to the 10 and you jog, 15 and sprint all the way down the field, the snake. Inevitably, no matter what happened, if you're at the front of the line, you get halfway through it, coach would blow the whistle, and you start over because somebody wasn't running hard enough.
Yeah.
Everybody could have been running the speed of light. He still was going to blow that whistle.
Right.
It was hard, right? If I can get through the snake, I can get through anything. And I still pull that today. So, you're right, Shane. I think, people who participated in any kind of team function that understands, dude, you got to ride in the truck with a guy. You don't, I'm sorry, I don't have the budget to give you your own truck. You got to sit in a cubicle next to someone, right? And my daughter's, I'm proud. I should have put on there. I don't know why I didn't. And my wife sees this, she's gonna be mad at me. My proudest accomplishment in my life for my children.
You did, and no, you did. So I will vouch for that, and I skipped over it in my facts for some reason. It says, and I'm gonna read it verbatim so that Chris's wife knows that this
saves the marriage here.
Oh, it says proudest life accomplishment, having to good sense to marry his wife and raising girls, now 24 years old. So
I love it.
For the record, it was in there.
You.
I skipped over it by accident.
Thank you, Jay.
Smart.
No, I was like, man, why didn't I put that? but my point is, my daughters are my proudest accomplishment. And everywhere I've tried to teach them lessons, I've tried to help them understand, academically, y'all are smart. They get that from their mom. But life is going to be about more than academics.
That's correct.
Going off to college is not just about the academic side. It's about learning how to live and be around people that don't look like you, that didn't grow up like you, that are taller than you or shorter than you or speak a different language than you. And the same thing applies in the workplace. We don't get to pick. We inherit most of the employees we're ever going to see. We get to pick a few of our team members from time to time. Deal with it. You got to figure it out.
Yeah. I really appreciate what you just said there, and I want to maybe go to the contrary part of that. And we've all probably had this situation before. Some people just don't have the background of working with a team. Mm-hmm. They have come from this individualist background, and it's a struggle at times. It can create some real challenges within the environment and the culture. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we talk a lot about it on this. I think offline with Shane and with Jay about those situations that we deal with. And I'm
They
not
think they have to
asking
be
you.
friends with everybody, right, Tom? Like they have to get along with every one of their teammates. They don't realize they don't have to all the time.
Well, I'm going the opposite way. I feel like they don't want to be friends with anybody. They
Gotcha.
want to be to Chris's point. They want to be in their own truck, their own gator,
Mm.
whatever utility vehicle. And when they are around those individuals, it can create tension because it might seem as if they're being rude or really just disengaged, but it could just be who they are. But ultimately, it doesn't. Yes, that matters. We have to appreciate and understand those individuals, but they do still have to work with the team.
Sure.
And so, in those cases, without getting, I don't want to get personal. I don't want to get into individual people, but how do you get someone to get into the mindset? Or I know sometimes it just doesn't work out. Sometimes it's not the right fit, but there are ways to get them to understand. Have you had those situations before where you have those individuals that seem to be more or less beating to their own drum, and you got to really do something to rally or engage them?
Absolutely. Obviously, I'm going to try and get through this without saying anybody's name and get myself in trouble with HR. There's always a team member who's going to just go in the opposite direction. He or she, they just, for whatever reason, listen, as a leader, my responsibility is to say, look, dude, these are the resources that we have to do this work. Now, here's the deal. I always tell people, I'm not going to micromanage you. I don't have time to do that. I'll use this analogy. If Jay and I were still here at Mecklenburg County together, and let's just say Jay worked for me, and we had to get to Greensboro for a meeting for some reason. And I said, Jay, Friday at 2:00, we're going to be in Greensboro. See you there, right? It's Jay can get to Greensboro. Or if Jay doesn't know how to get to Greensboro, hey, Chris, I've never been to Greensboro. What's the best route? Well, jump on 85, blah, 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 so on and so forth. I'm not going to tell you how to get there. You just need to be there, right?
Yeah.
So if you have a better way to do it, then do it. But what I need you to do is accomplish this goal, right? Now, a lot of people think they know how to do it better. They think, and they spend a lot of time and they waste a lot of time trying to be different. I think a lot of times people are just, for whatever reason, they just want to be different.
Yeah.
And, I give people that space. I give them a little bit of space to fail, to waste a little bit of time. But then I'll also use that as a good teaching tool to say, now, listen, all right, now, typically from Charlotte, it's about an hour to Greensboro. It's 4 hours. Now, I don't know what route you took, but here's what we need to do, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think, again, the work that we do, I tell people, we're in the business of experiences. That's what we sell in park and recreation, right? McDonald's sells hamburgers, Michelin sells tires, you name it. We sell experiences. So we've got to flex to move to meet our people's needs, what their experience is going to be. So I can't write everything down for you and make it black and white for you, right? Because what Shane likes, Tom doesn't like. So I can't do the same thing for Shane that I did for Tom, right? Can you imagine how thick the binder would be if I had to write out every specific thing for the individuals to do? So I think most of our team get that, but every once in a while you're going to have that employee, and you tell them, listen, man, I'm sorry, we're never going to be able to put you in your own truck, right?
Yeah.
Here's what we can do. We can shift shifts. We can move people around. We can try and work, but at some point you have to make a decision. Is this the right fit for you, right? And I kind of leave it there. And fortunately, for the most part, people they get on board.
I love that. We talked about standard operating procedures recently in my team, and I don't have a lot. And I know Jay and I have gone back and forth about this over time, and there's not a lot. I like to say there's not much standard about the way Pflugerville operates. So it's tough to really compile that in such a way that we would have some sort of thing. And there's this author, Marcus Buckingham, and he talked about Disney had brought him in, and Disney has like 3,000 housekeepers. And so they picked the 8 or 10 best, and they were trying to create a standard operating procedure so that they could give to all 3,000. So they picked their best 8 or 10, and he was interviewing them. And the first one said, well, I like to vacuum myself out of the room. I like to vacuum myself out of the room and make the lines as I'm the last thing I see as I walk out. And he's writing that down, and he looks over, and the other ones are like, oh, we don't do that. And the next one, he's like, well, what do you do? And this one says, well, I like to lay on the bed after I've made everything. I like to lay on the bed and turn the fan on. And they all looked at her like she was crazy. And he said, that's the last thing I do because it's the first thing the guest does after a long day at the theme park is they lay down at the bed, and if they see dust falling off the fan, they're going to think the whole room's dirty, and I just spent an hour in that room. And someone was like, well, there's a standard operating procedure says you're not supposed to do that. And they're like, "No, that's what I do." And then the other one said, well, I like to create a little show. So the kid leaves their dolls as they go to the theme park, and I like to set it up with the little McDonald's fry. It looks like they've been watching TV or eating out of the fries or whatever, and what he understood. He worked for Clifton Strength Finders, which is why he was brought into Disney to do this little exercise, is that when you're in the pursuit of excellence, there isn't a lot of competencies that match. Like, you can talk about making sure the room is clean at the end of the day and that the experience is cool for the person that walks back in. But in that process, everyone gets to that in a really unique or interesting way. And so I think what you're talking about is dead on. Like, I'm going to try to tell you that this is the destination. You're going to find the path. If you don't get there, there's coaching or my response, which I own, but I'm not going to try to tell you how I would have done it. I want to talk about how you didn't get there and how do you get there the next time,
Yeah. Yeah, obviously some things are time sensitive. We don't have the luxury to let you learn right now. We got to get this done. But for folks that are coming on and they're going to be there, got to give them that space to spread their wings and try it their way. And like I said, maybe I learned something. Maybe I learned something, just because I've been doing it a certain way for so many years doesn't mean it's the right way now. So I'm open to change. But again, for the most part, when you're leading a team as large as the teams that we have here in Mecklenburg County, inevitably you're going to have that bubble that pops up, and you deal with it on a case by case basis, I think.
Jay may take us away from this. I want to say while we're still on it, I think there's got to be a huge benefit for a rec professional to go to parks, maybe even more so than a parks professional to go to rec, because you almost now are more clear of what your end product looks like. As an event planner or a programmer, you know what the room needs to look like, and you know why it needs to look like a certain way, or the event needs to look like the park needs to look like that in a certain way. Do you feel like that's some sort of force multiplier or catalyst for what makes you maybe even better in the park side, is because you know what the end product needs to look like?
No, I think honestly for me, if I had started in parks and gone to rec, it would have been similar. The difference is, in rec, you got the youth sports, you got the ball, you got whatever. I did that as a kid, but I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story. I would have never rewind my life and put me at 10 years old and somebody said, hey, I want you to be a park and recreation professional. I would have been like, no, because I had a very negative impression of park and recreation from being a kid. When I was a child, all my family worked in textiles. They would get paid on Thursdays for some reason. I don't know what that is about, but they get paid on Thursdays. But Saturday morning, we go into town, and grandma and grandpa, my mom, they go and pay bills and buy things. Down at the end of the main street was this rec center. I grew up playing basketball with a bicycle rim nailed to the side of a utility post. I'm not making that up. I got pictures.
That's not the one you broke. You broke an actual goal, not this bicycle. I don't want to hear that this was your dunking experience. Okay.
I broke that one multiple times too, but that doesn't count towards my story.
It's pretty rickety from the start.
Right. So the point is, whenever I would get a chance to go into town and play basketball indoors on this beautiful basketball court, every time I pulled the door, it'd be locked. Sign on the door, back in an hour, opens at 3 or whatever. And I hated it, man. I just, So fast forward, college, I actually went into the military after college, and I got out of the military and I started, okay, what job am I going to do for the rest of my life? Park and recreation, because I did sports for the military. I did intramural sports on my base and varsity sports. So YMCA, no, I cuss too much. I can't be in a meeting and let an F-bomb fly in a YMCA meeting. Park and recreation, I was like, nope, not gonna apply for that. So yeah, that's what you do, Chris. But I had such a negative impression of parks because of my experience. But the point is, if I started parks, went direct, I think it would have been similar. Gotcha. You don't know what you don't know. And that's why I tell all the guys, I have a mentee that I just got assigned through that program I mentioned earlier, that first thing I'm gonna do is get him in my truck and we're gonna drive. And he's gonna see my world from the park side, because otherwise he's just sitting in a rec center pretty much 8 hours a day, dealing with all the things he deals with. If he doesn't have a reason to go out to parks, he won't do that, and it'll be he'll get hit in the face whenever he decides, okay, I want to try and apply for a park position. So I think it's just, you don't know what you don't know until you know it, right?
I would agree, and I think marrying the two is very important. It is so important to not view it as one sector, one side versus the other side or sector. Your story as a young individual, that's a great, powerful story to tell individuals that when we're trying to recruit people into our field, into our profession. It's been a challenge, and that's been a topic that we've been discussing. And Jay and I have had a chance to be a part of a committee. Shane, you got a chance to be in the audience for that session. And this story is actually works so well into that because, a lot of people will see us as a municipality as opposed to Parks and Recreation. The way that I want people to see us is Parks and Recreation and then a municipality. And then they realize, oh, you're part of the government, right? You're part of the town, the city, whatever it is. For years, when I first got into this position, 11 years into a director, it took about 4 years to get those two sides to really be married and understand that you could have the best, and I have a recreation background, you could have the best programmers out there. They could be the most enthusiastic people in the world. If you don't have the facilities, if you don't have the availability of the facilities, the experience that you're selling is going to be just as bad as if it was vice versa. The best experience, the best facilities that you can ever have, but individuals that aren't going to be putting all their effort into running those programs. So I agree with Chris. It's marrying the two, and you don't know.
The recreation side of me is about creativity. It's about, what God gave me in my mind. And when I see something, oh man, it'll be cool. The kids will love if we do, that's the creativity. That's the side. What Parks has given me that I didn't have, and this was a learned thing for me, is the logistical understanding of things, right? And I'd much like to transition, most entry-level positions in the rec side is coming in as a recreation specialist or some sort of, some title like that as programmer. When you become a facility manager, it's not necessarily just about programming anymore. You're running a building. You've got HVAC. You've got, all these things that when good programmers who are really good programmers get promoted, it's not just about programming anymore for you, right? Now you've got people that are responsible, that you're going to be responsible that got a program, but it's about getting schedules out. It's about, putting your brochures out in a timely fashion.
Budgets,
all of those things. And I think until people say that, until someone hears you talk about that, that's the cool thing about this leadership academy that we have here in Mecklenburg County. They get that, all of that stuff in that, the series of classes that they go through for a year. And, when I was a rec specialist, I didn't, even when I took the job in park and recreation, I didn't view this as a career. I didn't think that I'd be here 26 years later. I knew my wife and I needed to get a job, man. I had to get a job, and, they were paying. And, as you do it, you say, man, I'm pretty good at this. This kind of fits with, this feels natural. Oh, okay, well, yeah. And then 5 years in, you think, okay, let me button it up. Let me put on a nice shirt and I can start being a park professional, a park and rec professional. And then, you learn, you meet people like Jay, and you meet, you go to NCRPA or go to the NRPA, and then you start building this footing of saying, how good can I be at this? And it's okay. I tell people all the time, man, I think, and again, this is not meant to be a slight at any of us in our profession, but I would wonder if we could do a study of all the park professionals in the world, what percentage of park professionals grew up thinking, I'm going to be a park professional?
Oh,
versus, I tell, I'm a kid. I tell this to our accounting, her business manager. If she hears this, she'll laugh. You got to remember, she's accounting. She is 100%. 2 + 2 = 4. I don't want to hear it. Get out of my face. What I tell her is, you're dealing with a bunch of kids on the bus that sat at the back of the classroom and colored outside the lines.
Yeah.
That's so the best job you can do for us is help us move us towards what we need to do. Don't drive yourself crazy wondering why we keep doing this dumb thing. Why aren't they making deposits? Why aren't they? You got to marry. I want to give credit to a lady. She worked for us. Jay knows her very well. Terry Stowers, this lady who worked in our department for a long time. She just recently retired a year or two ago. Terry was so good she married park and rec with the business aspect of what we do with her teams. And I was part of her teams for a while, and she helped me understand that. But for the most part, the work that we do is all about experiences and fun, and the business aspect can easily get lost if you're not trained to keep yourself on track with that.
So 2 quick things that I want to add to what you just said. First, I love that you mentioned Terry's name. So, and you mentioned the Leadership Academy. I'm working with Terry right now. We're building a Leadership Academy in Cabarrus County. Terry lives in Cabarrus County. So here in Concord, we're joining forces with Harrisburg, Cabarrus County, and Kannapolis. And we're actually doing a joint Leadership Academy for the 4 municipalities. But to go back on something you said a minute ago.
Does Terry think you're the best fit to be working on that?
So I might have to get Terry on here as a guest one day. So Terry hired me in 2006. And this is a true story. And she'll tell this story if she ever comes on here, if you ever meet her. She didn't want to hire me. Like, it was like, she was on my interview panel.
Believable.
Her boss at the time was recommending that I get hired, and she was against it and didn't think I'd be a good fit for the neighborhood. Well, and she'll tell you that, like, 20 years later, she's like, man, I was wrong on that one. So, but to go back to what you said, you can ask her one day. But to go back to what you said a minute ago about, those are the folks that are calling outside the lines. Those attributes is what makes those folks so really successful, because those are the programmers or the folks that are creative to think of an event or think of an activity or think of a new way to implement a program. So you're right on that. We have to have this open mindset of how we manage people, because it's not always the way that you would think from a business mind. But obviously, with us being local government, we need to be business.
Right.
Now, sticking with the leadership thought process, you and I have known each other for many years. And when I was in the county, literally that wall that's behind you was the other side of that wall was my office. So we shared a wall. So I heard a lot of conversations that took place in your office, as I'm sure you did in my office. One thing that I always really enjoyed with the way you lead your team, and I was envious of, like, the way that you had certain characteristics to be a phenomenal supervisor, is you would call your team on their birthdays and sing happy birthday. Okay. Which you just, like, you guys are seeing Chris sitting down. Like, Chris he's a large human being. I mean, he's a basketball player at heart. And, just to hear someone that's singing happy birthday to a bunch of staff on a regular basis was always comical to me. But also, if you think about it, like, how many people would get a phone call from their boss to sing happy birthday? That's awesome. Like, I completely respect that. And I think that's such a unique characteristic that you always did. But from a leader perspective, is there a piece of advice that, if you're listening to this, for other people that are becoming leaders or looking to be a supervisor, what would you give as advice to a first-time supervisor that wants to be a strong leader in this profession?
Jay, thank you for mentioning my birthday thing. Just real quick, that started out when I was a facility manager and I had 4 people reporting to me. It's easy to call 4 people.
Yeah.
And over the years, it's grown where pretty much I'm calling somebody every day.
Yeah, you got 200 people, right? And then
right. So, and if I mess up and if I forget to call, oh boy, it's not that they give me trouble. It's just the sad faces they get when next time I see them. Well, Chris, you didn't call me. So I work really hard to try and make that happen.
Before you move on, what are you doing for a weekend? Do you call them on Sunday or do
Absolutely. Saturday or Sunday.
Wow.
At one point, I tried to say, okay, I'm going to do it on Friday. But you know what? People would be disappointed. Well, my birthday's not till Sunday, Chris. And I'm like, Now, my thing is this. If I call and they pick up, which most people who have gotten the call, they generally will pick up. But for my newer employees, sometimes they don't pick up. And I will never sing on the voicemail. I'll never.
Really?
I sing the song if you pick up. But if you don't pick up, I'll just leave a message saying, wish you a happy birthday. I hope you're having a great day, so on and so forth. So most people try their best to make sure that they answer the phone. I've got guys standing by with their wives. Oh, here it is. And they'll put me on speaker so their wives and their kids can hear me sing this silly song, But, again, man, to Jay's point, the purpose of me doing that is it's not a, hey, look at me and what I do, but just what he said. If someone, when I know how I feel when someone calls me on my birthday, obviously my wife is going to say happy birthday to me. My mom's going to call me for my birthday. But if somebody in my organization says, hey, Chris, happy birthday, that makes me feel good. So it doesn't cost me anything to do that, right? Just a little bit of time. For the most part, 4, maybe 5 people a day on any given day. Most days it's every other day I have to call one person. So it's not a big commitment. But that's the purpose of it. But to your point, Jay, about leadership, what I tell people, I want to get this right. I wrote it on my board behind me. One of the sayings, I truly believe, people don't follow people that they don't trust. And people don't trust people that they don't respect. And people don't respect people they don't know. get to know your people.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. 5-minute coffee in the break room. If you could recall, if you had a conversation with an employee and he tells you something about his kid's soccer game, and the next time you see him, if you can recall that soccer game, you lock people in, man. And it's just human nature for me. It's like I'm about people. I'm all about people. Their process and Myers-Briggs, all that stuff is wonderful. But I just believe if you treat human beings like you would like to be treated, you're going to not go wrong many times with that.
Well, and there's so many studies that have been done that show people don't leave jobs that they're happy with when they're supervisors. Yes, there's folks that might want more money or something, but if you like who you work with, you get along with your employee, you have a relationship with your boss, like that's what retention's all about.
Yeah.
And Shane, you'll appreciate this because I went to Kate Meacham's session in Orlando. And Kate talked about this in a similar context for birthdays. And she writes a handwritten note to all of her employees. And she's also in a larger agency. She's got a lot of employees. But she told a story that she'll go into a facility with their employees when it's their birthday and give them their birthday card. And they'll have like all their birthday cards from previous years, like stapled to the wall or like, hung up on a frame here and there. And it's like they see the value in it because they keep them and they show them out there to the world of like, I'm proud of this. I'm proud to work for Alan. I'm proud to work with Kate because she values me. And I'm sure, Chris, your team feels that value that they want to continue to work for you because you respect them, you value them, and you appreciate what they do.
Jay, to your point, I'm gonna turn my camera around a little bit. In my desk, little credenza. I don't know if y'all can see it. There's a picture of a guy right there.
Yeah.
Most everybody who comes into my office, first couple times, they'll eventually ask me, "Hey man, who is that old white man you got up on your wall?" That's one of my first supervisors in my life when I was in the military. He was a civilian. His name's Ken DeWitt. That was the kind of leader he was for me. And to this day, I get a Christmas card from him every year. That means a heck of a lot to me. And again, I can't form a close personal bond with every person that reports up to me. But as much as I can, as much time as I can spend when I get out of my truck and drive and see people, that's the best part of my job. That's the best part of my day when I can get in my truck and drive out to parks and either see a program that's happening, see a project that's developing, or just see guys doing their job. For the most part, the folks that work for me, they deal with the worst part of our trash, bathrooms.
Oh, yeah.
They deal with the worst part of what we do, right? But they do it with so much pride, man. They do it with so much love and understanding. How can I not get out there and rub their back, bring them some cold ice cream on hot days and Gatorade, that sort of thing? I'm a cheerleader. That's what I do. The ugly part of my job is when I have to sit down with an HR matter or stuff like that. But for the most part, I make no apologies of being the chief cheerleader for Park and Rec.
I love that. If Chris has been singing to employees for 26 years, he's probably the authority on when we're making babies. Like just go 9 months back. I mean, is it 9 months after Valentine's, 9 months after, New Year's, maybe 9 months after Duke wins a national championship?
Don't give me something else I got to try to keep up with, Shane.
I'm just saying, you've got these groupings where you're doing 5 in a day. You're like, okay, this is what happened 9 months back.
What happened? What was the occurrence on that?
That's right.
On that day?
That's right. Interesting. When you talk so much about being a connection point in your work, but I saw you in the lobby a couple days in a row in Orlando, and y'all were holding court downstairs as well. And so, we've talked about our YPN fam, and we've brought in that YPN Mafia group that has this connection. You seem to have this real close community of folks that y'all are hanging out with. What do you do to make that happen on the networking side, in the professional development side, and how do you tell others to do that?
I mean, for me, I guess it's organic for me. When I first got to go to conference, national conference, I was excited. I wanted to go to every little party or every session, everything. I wanted to do that. I don't value that as much anymore, right? So when I get there and I get checked in, I go through and see what classes I want to see. I find my director school buddies if I can find them, and generally we're going to huddle in a space, whether go to dinner or in the lobby like we did this past time, and that's where the best stuff happens. People open up when you can have a beer with people. And another thing that we do typically, wherever we go to conference, the people who come from Mecklenburg County, and I'm sure we're not the only people who do this, we all go to dinner one night together, just as a group.
The former Mecklenburg people or current?
No, just current Mecklenburg
Gotcha.
people. We go to dinner, and like I say again, you sit and eat, and you have a beer or drink a glass of wine with a person that you see every day, but you really know them because you've not had that time.
Yeah.
And I've never found it where people don't open up and become something a little bit different than what they were with you, or vice versa, right? And that's just valuable to me. Like I said, again, it's just about making that a connection, hearing about their life and what brought them to that point, and vice versa. So yeah, that I don't know if it's intentional, man, that we do that, but again, it just kind of feels like it always ends up that way for us. And those are the best nights when we can sit in the lobby and just we probably were about to get kicked out that one night, but
I almost called down on y'all a couple times.
we probably were being loud.
Honestly, guys, why do we try to, and I'm not trying to dissuade any sponsors here, but why do we run around on a Monday night? And it's one thing to stop in for 15 minutes to say thank you to one of our supporters, but it's crazy, right? And when we can have that real that's why we do this podcast. We do this podcast so that we can have a conversation with people like Chris for an hour and actually talk.
Right.
And yet at conference we're running around like chickens with our head cut off to I don't know.
Tom, let me jump in there and save you with your potential sponsors.
Please. Yeah, please.
That is valuable, right?
That is, yes.
All of those events, man, that's valuable. But like I say again, as you transition, once you've done, certain things for so long, for me, going out to, the landscape party or whatever it is, great, wonderful. And the younger folks from the team, hey, yeah, go on over there and do that and enjoy it. But for me, I want to go get to know the director from Raleigh, right?
You had Bentley down there with y'all's group.
Stephen Bentley was down there, and I didn't know him, but I hear so many good things about him. And fortunately, we were there, and he was sitting there, and man, I just got to know him. I feel like I kind of got to know him. So for me, that's what I target, those opportunities. So yeah, those parties are important. So keep going and having those parties. Sponsors.
Thank you.
Well, Chris, in addition to your role as a superintendent, over the years, I feel like you've always had a lot of different side initiatives that you've taken on, whether it's even may not be related to Mecklenburg County directly. One of them, I see stuff that you post on LinkedIn, and it's your superintendent shorts. For Tom and Shane, and for our listeners that may not have seen this.
This is you in a video wearing shorts? Is that what this is?
No, that term shorts, I got that from, I guess that's what you call not a long video, but a short video.
Gotcha.
I didn't make
Love
it up. I just adopted it.
Yeah, so it's funny because the videos, you've always had this very creative side of you. And I can think back to during COVID. So during COVID and even pre-COVID, I think Chris was making some little commercials and I hate to say commercials, but little videos to advertise different things for Mecklenburg County. And there was one during COVID that he actually had my son in, and it was about cleanliness at a playground. This was literally during COVID, so that, we got off a playground and he was using sanitizer, and it was that making sure that people realize that we need to have separate, 6 feet apart and all these different things. But it's morphed into something way bigger than that now, into, getting to the root of a lot of the impact that we have. And it's sharing success stories, sharing park projects, sharing staff highlighting. I saw one last week about the golf tournament. I saw one a couple weeks ago that you did about driving around the county with our county manager and another elected official to showcase what we're doing in our region. And I say our just because I still live here, obviously, in Mecklenburg County. How did that come about? And, how do you come up with the topic or the theme? And for those that haven't seen it, when we release this podcast, we'll definitely share the LinkedIn post because they're awesome. I love watching them. It gives me ideas, but also energizes me to continue to have that, that passion of what we do is not always known or shown, but we need to show that more often because so many times you're highlighting staff, highlighting projects, highlighting just the great things that we're doing that we don't highlight as much as we should.
Yeah, Jay, that started, man. First of all, let me give a shout out to my boss, Greg Clemmer. Gives me the freedom to do a lot of that stuff. He's not ever on my back. You're spending way too much time doing that. That started, if you remember, Jay, remember the Friday letter that we had here in Parks? So when I came over to Parks, obviously reading about how many basketball teams and how many kids are participating in the basketball program, that's all cool, right? Oh man, they had that many. Wow, that's great. Reading about guys picking up trash and cleaning bathrooms and dragging ball fields, it's not sexy. It's just not. But if you see it, if you can capture it in a video to see these guys operating this machinery and their methods for how it ain't just picking up trash, it's pulling, their methodology, how they do it. I thought that would be a better thing for us in park ops. So I kind of started back then, and it morphed into something else, and then it morphed into something else. During COVID, when you and Noah came out and did that video at the playground, we were trying to help people understand. That was back when we still really didn't know what COVID was, and this was before, certainly before vaccines and mask wearing. We were just saying, hey, but at that point they said 6 feet apart, right? So we were just trying to say, hey, if you go out to the playground, because we get hundreds of calls saying, oh, how are y'all cleaning these playgrounds? Well, we're not cleaning playgrounds. The sunshine sanitizes playgrounds. You don't put chemicals on playgrounds because you'll corrode it, but whatever. So seeing that, I think the message becomes clearer to people. Now, recently, as I've started doing them, it's just me re-engaging myself. One thing about park operations, the ongoing professional development can get lost in park ops a lot, right? Because we are so reactive to whatever scenario is happening in each parks. Everything from murders that happen or that kind of crime to people breaking in cars, that's reactionary. We have to go and figure that out. So if I were planning to do something for myself, if I'm going to sit down and do an online class or something, generally that can kind of get washed away because of whatever I'm dealing with. But this kind of helps keep me engaged. And I love reading my colleagues. I think you guys had Antonio Murphy on a few weeks ago. Yeah. And, that keeps me involved from a professional development side. And like I say, my thing's videos. I think secretly, man, I wanted to be a star. I really wanted to be a comedian or something. And
a podcaster?
A podcaster. Maybe that's something I'll explore.
We get rid of Jay.
but seriously, man, I enjoy doing it. The skill set, it's not hard. If you get yourself a Mac computer, it just about does it itself. The editing, it's not hard, but people seem to enjoy it, man, and I enjoy doing it. And again, to your point, highlighting the employees, right? Yeah. When you're in high school, you remember high school football Friday night or whatever sport you played, and you saw the news guy at your game, couldn't wait to get home and see how he covered the game. Did I make the news? And people, I saw you on the news. Employees are the same way. When they get in my videos, oh boy, they want to see themselves in those videos. So, I acquiesce and try and do it every chance I get.
Well, Chris, we're going to transition here to some rapid fire questions. So just quick hitters that first thing that comes to mind, and I'll go first and then we'll turn it over to Tom and then Shane. But, we've talked about the career path that you started and all the different progressions you've had. But if you were not in park and recreation, what do you think your career would be right now?
Oh, wow. That is a good question. I've always said, my daughter, shameless plug, I have a daughter in medical school right now. Very proud of that. I know I could not have been a doctor. Nothing about learning all that stuff would stick for me, right? But one thing I think I would have liked to have done, like say, man, when I grew up, my parents told me to go to school, get an education, be successful. But they never said for what. They didn't ever say what to be successful in. If my mom had said, I want you to be a lawyer, I think that's something that I probably could have done. And I wish if I could rewind and jump and do something different, maybe be an attorney.
Okay.
So let's switch over to golf. I'd love to hear a little bit about this. I'm a big fan of golf. And as I said in the beginning, my hobbies and times for hobbies, I have a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and I have a baby that is due next Friday.
Oh, wow.
So my time for hobbies has shrunken considerably.
Right.
And I miss the golf course. I'm a September 12th birthday. You said your birthday was last month.
September 20th.
20th. And was your hole-in-one this September 20th, or was this recently? And where was it?
It was in 2018.
Okay.
At a golf course here in Gaston County, right next county over. It's called Crowder's Mountain. Par 3, number 4, 167 yards. But who's remembering? I can't remember.
Wait, let me guess the club.
Crisp air outside.
Six iron.
6 iron. Okay.
It was, guys, I have never in my life felt that way before, right? I've been on the course with people and they hit hole-in-ones and we all go nuts. It was just so unexpected. It just came out of nowhere. And when I saw that ball go in that hole, I don't know how I didn't blow my knee out because I jumped 10 feet in the air. It was amazing. And I still remember that feeling.
Was it a casual round or during a tournament or anything
No,
like
it was
that?
a casual round.
Casual round.
Me and my buddies, like I say, it was my birthday. So my guys treated me to a golf that day
Nice.
on my birthday.
Nice.
It was a Friday. It was just one of those things that just came out of nowhere. Now, I'm not a great golfer. Let me just be clear. I'm not a good golfer, but I just love to play. I love to hit the ball. I love to try and figure the game out. I've never taken a golf lesson, and I never will, because I think it'll ruin it for me. But I just love it. And man, on a beautiful fall day, crisp, it's just, there's nothing better.
Man, Jade,
Now,
did you invite Chris to Topgolf in Orlando? Come on.
I don't know that I did. Next time.
No, Jade's got a lot of people. This RecLess has made him a big deal. So
Big deal. He barely talks to us.
Big deal, Jay.
So since it was your birthday and they treated you to golf, who was paying for the beverages after the round?
Honestly, if I remember right, because like I said, we go to Gaston County, and I think we stopped by a chicken wing joint. I won't say the name of it. They're no longer in business, but they wore really tiny orange uniforms.
Gotcha.
And everybody bought. It was just like go nuts that day. So it was cool.
Well, I think for my question, the Duncan attorney would have been a great podcast handle for you. So did you dunk in a game or practice, and did you make some park and rec professional have to kick you out of the gym? What was the story behind this?
Funny story. Now, Jay asked me to give him some facts. I gave him facts. It's a fact that I shattered a backboard.
You and Shaq?
It was in warm-ups prior to a rec game.
Oh.
I just started here in Mecklenburg County. This was in 1999. And, being a tall guy, I said, hey, big man, hey, you want to play? Come on, be on our team. Okay, so I show up at this gym, and we're warming up. And, I don't really know anybody. I know the guys that I directly work with, but I don't really know anybody. So I'm out there, and then all of a sudden, I go up two hands just casually, and the glass just shatters all up in my face and all over me. And I thought, oh, and people are like, yo, whoa. And immediately I turn and look on the side of the wall, like in most rec center gyms that you'll see, It says no dunking.
Yep. You're the problem. You are part of the problem.
Oh my God. I am about to lose my job. And but yeah, it was in a warm up of a game. So I pretty much canceled the league that night.
Did you have to buy beers that night too?
You didn't make any friends. No friends.
I got out of there as quickly as I could. Like I say, I didn't know anybody, and I didn't think they know me. So I was like, "Hey, let's get out of here before somebody."
Got out of there quick.
Do you have a favorite golf course in the region?
Obviously, I play most of our public golf courses here in Mecklenburg County. There are 5 golf courses in Mecklenburg County. I'll play anywhere. I have the opportunity from time to time with some of our partners. They'll invite me to play in a golf tournament. Some of the folks from Visit Charlotte or Visit Lake Norman, they'll invite me to play. Listen, I'll play golf in the middle of I-85 if somebody invites me to play. Some of the nicest. I don't like playing at nice golf courses. Let me just say that. I don't really like it. I'll go and I'll do it, but I don't want to tear those folks' golf course up, man. I'm not always replacing my divots. I just.
They got someone paid to do that, right?
Right.
That's great. So, since your favorite wing place shut down, where would you take us if we went and visited you in Mecklenburg? Where's a great place to eat?
Oh man, that's a great question. There's a place that we just went to a month or so ago. If you like barbecue. Now, our new director, I don't know if y'all know Nick Walker. He's from Memphis, right? So, Memphis barbecue. He's come to Charlotte, Memphis barbecue. So when he got here, everybody just assumed, hey, let's take him to get some barbecue. And he's looking down his nose at all the North Carolina barbecue. But there's a nice place called Noble Smoke over off Freedom Drive. That's really good. Smoke. You guys were talking to Antonio Murphy, and y'all had him in rapid fire, and you asked him about Texas barbecue versus some of the
Louisiana, maybe, or
Louisiana, I think it was. Now let me just say this, guys. One of my best friends lives in Texas now. He's a head basketball coach at the University of Dallas. He's women's basketball coach. I had a chance to go to the conference in Dallas a couple years ago. First time in Texas for pleasure. I was there in the military, but it wasn't pleasurable. It wasn't fun. I got to tell you, bro, that Texas barbecue is something else.
Thank you.
It is,
Thank you.
and Shane. I'm not just saying that. Try to
I
buddy up
appreciate
with you.
that. I appreciate that.
That Texas brisket is something else, and you're gonna have a hard time believing me to believe anything else going forward. Now, I grew up. My dad, when I was a kid, there wasn't barbecue joints on every corner like there is now. You got barbecue a couple times a year. 4th of July, Memorial Day, maybe. Everybody go out and dig a hole in the ground, smoke a big old hog. But nowadays, you can go everywhere and get barbecue. So I feel like I know barbecue a little bit, but Texas just doing it a little bit different.
Love it. We
I
got
would
it
agree with
confirmed,
you.
fellas.
I'm with them. I'm with Chris.
I agree. When we went to the barbecue joint outside of Dallas for the conference a couple years ago, it was phenomenal. And I remember Tom and I even walked in to watch the guys in the smoker.
Jay, do you remember the name of that place?
Shane does.
Shane would know. Where'd you take us, Shane?
Was it Hutchins?
Like a top 3 place, right? Or number
I think
one.
it was Hutchins out there in and
it's up by the Star, up whatever area that is of Dallas. It was Hutchins Barbecue. They got this thing called the Texas Twinkie, where they take a jalapeno and they stuff it with the cream cheese with chopped brisket, and then they wrap it with bacon, and they slather it with some sweet. Oh, and
then they smoke it.
Yes, Lord. That right there gets you in trouble at TSA trying to sneak it home.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us today. This was awesome. I've been looking forward to this for a while, and I always enjoy talking to you. And I really am hopeful that we can stay in touch and maybe get on the golf course sometime soon.
Absolutely. Guys, let me tell you, man, thank you guys for inviting me and having me on. Congratulations on y'all's success. This podcast is amazing. You guys are putting our profession forward. Kick my chest out. I just had my 35th year class reunion a couple weeks ago. And, used to be I go to my class reunion and I slink. They'd be like, what do you do for a living? Oh, I work for Park and Rec. Now I stick my chest out. I am a park and recreation professional.
I love it.
People are knowing more about what we do, and I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Thanks for being on. It's great to talk.
Thanks, Chris. Great to meet you.
All right, guys. Take care.
See ya.
Care.
Have a good one.
Man, he is so passionate.
Dude, I learned a ton during that episode and took notes. I felt like I
love
was
the marrying.
I thought I was at conference. Yeah.
Right, I love the marrying part as well. That's so insightful.
Yep. Yeah, he's awesome. That was a really, really great show. Thanks for bringing him on, Jay.
What's cool about this podcast is you don't get to, he may have gone to the last 5 conferences I've gone to, but this show is where we got to highlight some of these concepts that he comes forth. And like Tom was saying, I think people, we took people to church today a little bit. They got to go to a session, and there's nuggets out of this today. And
all over.
I just think not everyone is fortunate enough to be led by someone like him. Like at some point in your career, you just hope to be led by someone that cares so much about you, that he wants to know about you. He wants to talk to you during your, he wants to highlight you for your birthday. He wants to go out and see what you're doing and highlight you in a shorts video. Like, what an incredible leader.
Yeah, he's such a people first leader, which is incredible because that's what we do. I mean, we're here to serve, and we need to focus on the people that are serving. And I've seen it firsthand, and I hear it firsthand when I was, like I said, we shared an office wall. So I used to hear so many tidbits that I would take away from him on a regular basis. So it was a pleasure.
And he doesn't apply any of that to us, Tom.
No,
he had all this. He had all this criticisms, and he never sings us happy birthday.
He doesn't sing us anything. Nothing.
Incredible.
Ever.
Speaking of birthdays, though, someone has a birthday coming up next week, and I don't think
Tom's child.
Nope,
that's right.
Well, that too. Actually,
you have a shared birthday. I'll never forget.
You could have a shared birthday for that new baby of yours.
That's right.
What's the date? The 15th, 16th,
something like that.
It's on my calendar, and it is the 15th.
15th. Okay.
He doesn't want people to know that, so we are going to blast it out to the world that Shane's birthday is the 15th.
I married the wrong person to not have that shared, unfortunately.
So speaking of birthdays, and I didn't want to share this in the middle of Chris's amazing.
But you did.
No, not in the middle of his episode. I'm gonna share it now. He was talking about how good it feels when people call you or text you or whatever it is on your birthday. My wife forgets to say happy birthday at least the last 2 or 3 years. I wake up, I know it's my birthday, and I'm just waiting. Usually it's not until I'm out the door. And
keep waiting.
Yep, I'm still waiting actually.
You were with us You were with us on your birthday last year, right? This last week was that at conference? Or was that your birthday at
It
conference?
was 4 days. It was, I
Oh,
think, the
gotcha.
week after. Yeah, yeah. It was the
Okay.
Friday before we left. But I think a few years ago, when it was last in September, I believe it was on that day. And also the barbecue place, because it was killing me. It's Terry Black's. That's where you brought us.
Oh, Terry Black's. I think I went to Hutchinson's with Jason Mangum, but I did go to Hutchinson's in Dallas that same time.
Okay.
So I went to both.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
because it didn't sound
Terry
familiar,
Black's. Yep.
Hutchinson's, but Terry Black's, and I even got that picture, Jay, of I don't know if you can see it, but that's one of the
Yeah.
pits. It's yeah, good
Yeah, we
memories
were
of that
walking through.
place.
They were very graciously welcoming us to walk through the pits and just check everything out. It was cool. Well, hey
Awesome.
guys, this was fun, and hopefully the listeners enjoy it and also gain some criticisms as well, because he's great to get to know and great to talk to.
Yeah, he was getting on to me for not having him on, so I'm glad. He was talking to me about when are you going to have me on, and then he just kind of like killed the conversation. And I, like he said,
That's
I think
funny.
he realized if he went too much longer, I was going to be like, okay, well then why don't you come on this next week or whatever. So,
Well, I'm glad that you saw him without me, because when I saw him at conference, I saw him in the exhibit hall and I said, hey, we got to connect soon so I can like start prepping. And if you were with me, you might have picked up on that, because I
Yeah.
might have not realized that, you were right next to me. So, well, hey, that was great. And I don't know that we're going to have one episode
Next
recorded
week.
again without Tom being a father of 3. So
yeah,
until next time, guys.
Yeah,
yeah,
we will see you all next time with another baby girl.
that's right.
Yeah.
Maybe on my
Awesome.
birthday.
See you
Shane's
guys.
a great gender neutral name, Tom. Just think about it. That's all I'm
It
saying.
is. It's very true.
See ya.
Take
Bye,
care. We'll
everyone.
talk to everybody soon.
This episode of RecLess wouldn't have been possible without the support of our agencies and our better halves, Melissa Salatino, Lindsay Tryon, and our executive producer, Hannah Mize. We also want to thank our director of hashtags and swag, Rooney Taylor, and our team of junior producers, Luke, James, Elizabeth, Grant, and Harper. Stay up to date on all things RecLess by following all of our social media, and like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast to ensure you don't miss an episode. See you next time on RecLess.